If you would, please pray with me. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of your faithful, and kindle in us the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit, and we shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. My friends, what is gratitude? What is gratitude? What does it mean to be thankful? Is it simply just saying the words, or is there something perhaps a little deeper? I want to offer you two stories from my own life that you can use to make fun of me from here on out. One of them starts when I had just joined the military. I was about 2 years in. I was a young soldier at the time, and my unit got tasked with the opportunity to go do some war gaming with NATO. It sounds way more fun than it was. And so there I was, heading to Germany for the first time with my unit. It was awesome. First time out of the country. First time getting to go explore the world, everything that I had signed up for when I joined the military. And as we got there, we got tasked with our mission. We were going to be part of a multinational event. And I remember we got in our trucks, we started doing our missions, and there we were traveling to where we were supposed to be staying, the base we were going to be staying at. Well, part of the war gaming is meant to make it feel like it's a real situation. And as we end up at this operating base where we were going to be staying, it was late at night. We had just come through a massive rainstorm. We get out in the motor pool. Everything is soaking wet, and it's all muddy. And as we're there, the commander of the base comes out and goes, "Who are you guys?" That's never a good sign. And so he comes out, he meets with our commander, and all of a sudden, my commander looks at all of us and goes, "Well, I have good news and I have bad news." And I'm bracing myself. What does this mean? He goes, "Good news is we have a place to stay." I'm like, "That sounds great. Thank goodness, because it'd be really bad if we didn't." He goes, "Bad news is there's no room. And the place to stay is right here in the motor pool." And I remember thinking to myself, this is crazy. I didn't sign up for this. Anybody who's ever joined the military, you absolutely signed up for it. You just didn't read the fine print. And I remember being there, and I'm like, my boots are sunk into the mud, and I'm in my own head, like, I have to sleep here? This doesn't make any sense. It's cold, it's wet, it's muddy. What do you mean you didn't have a place for us? You didn't know we were coming. And I remember being so angry in my own head. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. I didn't care about what anybody else was going through. In that moment, I was like, I have been wronged. This isn't right. And in the midst of being in my own head in this moment, two of my team leaders, which are more senior enlisted, they start laughing. They light up a cigarette. That's what we do in the military. They throw their packs down back to back, and they lean up against each other back to back, and they just sit down in the mud like a bunch of pigs. And I'm sitting here being like, what is happening? And these two guys, they're combat vets. They've been through hell. And in this moment, I'm looking at them, and they're just happy as a clam. And I am so confused at 20 years old as to why they're happy about this moment. And so in my specialness, I asked them the question, "Aren't you angry?" And they look at me, and they're like, "You've got a lot to learn." Yes, this is terrible, but there's something good here. I said, "What is good about this moment?" And they said, "Look up. Look at the stars. Look at what we get to sleep under tonight." And it changed my whole world. Something as simple as that. No, it was not comfortable. No, it was not what I had expected. No, it was not fun. But there I was, surrounded by brothers in a terrible moment, and I learned a valuable lesson. That is, while I was so worried about my own comfort, my own abilities, my own understandings, I learned that when those that have gone through hell, when they're gracious, they're just happy to live under the stars. That's number one. Number two, my time in seminary. Anybody who knew me in seminary, I was a complainer. If you're following a trend, it's there. Because once again, the seminary is a tough place. Yes, it's a lot of fun. Yes, it's a lot of cool opportunities, a lot of learning. But it's a lot of forming yourself and a lot of being called out in areas that you don't want to be called out in. And so as it happens, the military and the church are very similar. And so there's a common saying, a complaining soldier is a happy soldier, a complaining seminarian is a happy seminarian. And so I just remember being in this time in seminary, this privileged time, being frustrated. Well, lo and behold, last year I had an opportunity to go back there on a retreat. And while I was there, I had the opportunity not being in the midst of the seminary, but being able to pay attention to everything that was around me. And all of a sudden, my heart was filled with a lot of gratitude as the Lord smacked me on the head and said, Evan, you get to see what you got to do, which most of the people you will serve will never have the opportunity to spend this time in. I remember just being overwhelmed with gratitude because of the beauty of where I got to study, but also the fact that I got to spend so much time in that study. So my friends, why do I share that story? One, because I want you to know that I'm human, and if you hear me complain, it's a long thread in my life. But I also want you to understand that gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's a change of perspective. It's a change of how we interpret what is going on in our lives. Because here's the truth. A lot of you have gone through a hell in your lives. A lot of you have had to deal with real difficulties. But if we're being honest, every one of us are gathered right here in Roswell, Georgia, where we're safe, we're secure, and if we're being honest, we're pretty happy. And yet, even in all of that, we can lose a sense of gratitude for what we have. I know I do, and I'm sure you have as well. My friends, the sense of perspective changing. Here is Jesus. He has these 10 men who have come to him as lepers, which was a death sentence in the ancient world. It was a time where you would be ostracized from your community, sent out and abandoned, left for dead, called the walking death. And these men stay a distance and ask the Lord, will you help us? And what does the Lord say? I command the heaven and earth to open up and change your entire life right here, right now. No. He simply says, go to the priests and show yourself. These 10 men would have received that like, you're a miracle worker and you're telling us just to go and do what we've always done. So many of them probably went away frustrated. But we're told that one goes and realizes that a healing takes place and only one returns to the Lord. What about the other 9? The other 9 could have gone off and just said, well, he didn't do anything for us, but somehow I'm healed. Therefore, maybe it was by my own power, my own resources, my own creation that this happened. But the one understood the truth, and he went back to where the source of that healing was, Jesus. My friends, every one of us have gifts and talents in this life. And guess what? Through all of our successes, that comes at the cost of blood, sweat, and tears. It comes at us having to wrestle with and endeavor upon and build upon those gifts and talents. I'm not making light of the things that you have done in this life. But at the end of the day, if you have the intellect to do well, you were given that capacity by someone. If you've done well in this life, it has not just been by your own achievement. It has been by the one who has given you the capacity for that achievement. We all know stories of people that come from the greatest of homes and end up destructive, and those that have come from the worst situations ending up awesome human beings. Gratitude and the sense and the perception change is where everything changes. There are moments in our lives where we love our comforts, and there will be moments in this life where you have to sleep in a mud hole in Germany. But what changes is how you approach that in your own life. Will you get angry about it because it's unjust? And it very well may be. Or will you thank the Lord that you too get to sleep under the stars? When you go through hell, your life and your perception changes. That is where real gratitude can be found. It's not just in the material things of this life, but it's knowing who provides the goodness we receive. So as you go through this week, ask the Lord to change your perception. Because all of a sudden, getting stuck in traffic for 10 extra minutes may not actually be the end of the world. Perception changes everything. Ask the Lord to help you to thank him, even for the little inconveniences in your life.